I've had every booster there is to
anecdotal
have,
that, yeah.
and I have never had COVID. Did the vaccine gave you COVID? You had something like 1,900 kids who died of COVID.
Bill Maher recently had Seth Macfarlane on his Club Random podcast where they had some interesting talks about the vaccine where, surprise, surprise, Bill Maher really showed his ass on the topic, oddly taking an anti-vax stance and being unable to even defend the positions he was taking. It was kind of hard to watch as Seth MacFarlane kind of just laid out fact after fact, scolding him in a way that a parent teaching their child would. So let's start here where Bill Maher tries to touch on natural immunity.
If you already had the disease, you have natural immunity. We didn't seem to believe in that.
That was debunked, though. I mean, that's
not debunked.
Don't you know people who've had COVID 4 or 5 times? I do. That's not natural immunity. There's no immunity there. You've had COVID 5 times.
Probably because you had too many vaccines. I didn't have COVID.
Did the vaccine gave you COVID?
Well, that's certainly nothing unscientific about the fact that the vaccine, which does weaken you in order to strengthen you.
Says do all vaccines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But while you're in a weakened state, yes. That's why so many people like me got it, did not have it while the thing was raging and I was taking zero precautions because I was never that afraid of it.
But that's anecdotal. Like I've had every booster there is to
anecdotal
have.
That, yeah.
And I have never had COVID.
So yeah, this idea of natural immunity, how he's trying to paint it, is just complete nonsense, especially when the main reason for taking the vaccine isn't to make it less able for you to get it, but it's to make the virus less transmissible when you do have it. There was a study done that showed across the board, it made you less contagious, and having had the virus before and then getting vaccinated gave you the highest level of protection from being contagious, which is maybe what Bill Maher is referring to if I'm going to be generous to his positions. But you don't ever just let natural immunity happen with COVID or anything for that instance. That's just absurd. And every shred of evidence on the matter shows that you're safer with the vaccine than you are without, especially before all these new variants came in when it was easier to track. I just love how fast Seth shuts down his anecdote with an anecdote of his own. Like, oh yeah, like people can get weak and get COVID. Well, what about me where I've had every booster and I haven't had COVID? Because there's plenty of people like that. And the statistics backs up that perspective way more than the one Bill Maher was trying to take.
But you know the difference between anecdotal and statistical.
I do.
And statistically, you still have a 90% better chance of not being hospitalized, not dying if you're vaccinated.
Okay, but that's assuming all people are alike, and that is one of the giant fallacies in your way of thinking. We are not all alike. Yes, I would recommend and have recommended the COVID vaccine for the high-risk people. Like if you're 90 or fat, get it. Absolutely. You need it. Some people don't.
But you had...
Djokovic didn't need it.
But you had...
Aaron Rodgers didn't need it.
But you had something like 1,900 kids who died of COVID during the pandemic.
No, I don't think that's right.
Spot on. You're 89% less likely to be severely affected. I think that's the stat he's referencing there, which severely affected would be what leads to you being hospitalized. And there were 17,400 deaths from COVID for people under the age of 20. 53% were 10 to 19. 47% were 0 to 9. So you could wage around 7,000, 8,000, somewhere around there of kids 0 to 9 with another amount from 10 to 18 who would be used. So 1,900 was a gross understatement, not even saying too much as Bill Maher was trying to paint it out. But it's also something that disproportionately affected the poor, as well as children, as well as people of color also. And as they are more likely to not have the same access to healthcare, the ability to getting the vaccine. So getting a vaccine rolled out to be accessible to anyone who does want to take it should always be considered a good thing, especially when achieving herd immunity is the goal. It seems that Bill Maher just has to keep shifting further into his bad opinions. Maybe it's because that's the audience he's attracting, so now he just has to lean into it. And, you know, he's always had his share of them. So it's not like anything really new, though it was fun here watching him getting thoroughly shut down with facts by someone who's not even in the political sphere.